This is a conversation with Miguel, one of my dedicated students who has been on the fascinating journey of learning Polish. But this discussion is about much more than just language. Miguel shares how his Erasmus experience in Poland completely transformed his life, from seeing snow for the first time to navigating Polish culture, language, and even falling in love. He opens up about the challenges of adapting to a new country, his first impressions of Poland, and the cultural shocks he experienced after moving from sunny Portugal to Poland's harsh winters. But that's not all. We also discuss the difference between Portugal and Poland, his crazy Erasmus adventures, the reality of learning one of the hardest languages in the world. We talk about AI, geopolitics, and the future. Will AI replace teachers and workers? The war in Ukraine, Europe's challenges, and what the future might hold. My ultimate goal is to create the best online Polish language course, and students like Miguel inspire me to make that dream a reality. But I need your help too. Together we can build something extraordinary, an engaging, supportive, and impactful learning community for Polish learners around the world. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, share your thoughts in the comments, and let me know what topics and resources would help you and your Polish learning journey. Thank you. So the first question is, why did you start learning Polish?
Well, that's easy after let's say a hiatus because I did I came to Poland uh, because of my now fiance. So that is the main motivator, uh, so that I can communicate with her and the family, and also so that I'm able to speak with Polish people. Yes, if something happens, car breaks down somewhere, or I need to go to Urgent to take care of some, let's say, bureaucracy related things. Yes. So this is why, and because I had tried to do it a couple months right after I arrived in Poland to do my studies, and it was too much at the same time. Plus, my a bit of my lazy side, let's say, to be honest, and and yes, it was a bit too much at the same time. Doing part-time masters relationship, so
Yeah.
and but I'm very happy that I got back on, and I do have to tell that like I feel more fluent and more at ease, something that I didn't quite have before. So,
And when did you visit Poland for the first time?
ooh, Poland for the first time. So this was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, because I came for Erasmus. So yeah, uh, I I I came for Erasmus, and that was the reason why I came here. It was basically I wanted to go somewhere where I would be taken out of my comfort zone. So that was the the thought process behind it.
And were you taken out of your comfort zone?
Oh, definitely.
So how
So,
was it? How was it?
oh yeah, so it was very interesting process because I could choose at the time between going to Spain to Granada or to Poland, and the way that I seen it, someone told me some time ago, even before I was deciding going on Erasmus, that Miguel, you have good personality to go to Erasmus, na na na. And I'd never thought about it. I was like, let me check what is this, like what's involved, na na na. So I was lucky to have a teacher in my university when I was a bachelor's that she was helping with the whole procedure, process, bureaucracy of everything, and And when I was deciding, I was talking with my parents about it. I had savings from working like over the summers, everything. And I remember my mom saying something the likes, "Oh, why don't you go to Granada? It's so close. If anything happens to you, me and your dad were gonna be able to come and help." And immediately in my mind, like a red siren came on, saying, "No, this is not what I want. I want to really be challenged," because until then, I had not stayed outside of my parents' house for a long period of time. So I wanted to see if I could take basic care of myself, yes, while
Yeah.
away, and also the prospect of like going on this adventure into the unknown. Like I never had seen snow. I never experienced temperatures below 5 degrees, for God's sake, and it all of it excited me so much. But uh, I I made one mistake in all of this excitement of wanting to challenge myself to like grow as a person, all of that, and go to a different country. I thought the best way to do that was to do as little research about the area where I was staying as possible. So I just researched about the culture, about a bit the history of of the country. But when I arrived, it was a bit chaotic. So much so that um, I ended up in Warsaw University, which is in the city center, and I ended up walking there. And excuse me, do you know where is SKGV? Is it here? And the lady looked at me like a bit confused. It's like, no, this is Warsaw University. And I'm like, but wait, is it not all the same? No, no, it's you need to. It's basically on the other side of the city. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was yes, yes, yes. Quite an adventure, but yeah.
So how much time did you spend when you were first time in Poland?
Oh, 1 semester. So I came for the winter semester. That was the goal to to see snow, to experience this harsher temperatures, I guess,
Yeah.
and like totally different culture, totally different language background. Because I know in Spain, anywhere like in Spain, Italy, Greece, even, we all have this background of these romantic languages. So, but to go to a country that truly is I've never even thought of going there before. It was such an extreme in my mind that it really attracted me to go for it. So
And
uh,
how was it? How was it?
yeah, it was like so most people that I knew that were doing Erasmus to a different country, they would try to pair with someone else. I didn't want to do that. I and I ended up coming to Warsaw. Um, no one that I knew from my course came. I knew a person, a friend of mine that had done his Erasmus in Warsaw. He told me that, oh, it's amazing, things are cheap, like good food, parties very good. Um, so I had this feedback.
And did
Uh,
he say anything about Polish girls? Or...
oh, of course. So this is like about the beauty. Oh, they're very beautiful. Oh, you're Portuguese. They love people from from south of Europe. Yada
exactly.
yada yada. So this is a classic, yes.
Yeah.
And so then I arrived. Coincidentally enough, in the same dorm room where I was staying, there was another Portuguese guy. So it was interesting. Also, the first time that I had lived in shared quarters. So basically, we had, let's say, in these dorms, we shared the bathroom for 10 people, uh,
Yeah.
and shower also. So that was interesting also. Um, and you know, be another one of the mistakes that I ended up making, and for anyone that is watching this, and if you're thinking ever about doing some Erasmus, going on Erasmus program, like do at least the basic minimal research that you need to do, the time that your course actually starts, so that you don't end up arriving 1 week earlier like I did, uh, knowing a bit about the area where you're staying, where are some convenience stores, about public transportation. That was another one. Um, it's essentially, I back in Faro, which is where I come from in Portugal. Um, I got my driver's license fairly early, so I wasn't, and you can basically walk anywhere. So I wasn't dependent on public transportation. Meaning, when I came to Poland, um, this clever guy didn't know how to take the bus and where you needed to buy a ticket and all these really basic things. So the first time I ended up being on the bus, I didn't buy a ticket, and I was okay. I thought I knew how to buy a ticket. I don't know. Let me get on the next stop near some Biedronka. That's the only thing I had heard, because it's part of this chain, the same owner from the Pingo Doce here in Portugal.
Yeah.
But but yeah, and the whole thing of arriving 1 week earlier. I mean, I was expecting I'm gonna arrive. There's gonna be people like me that's like adventurous, like excited to meet new people, to get together, do things together. And I arrive and it's a complete ghost town. So it was a very interesting time. It was very challenging, especially for someone like me that mm, I'm okay spending time with myself. But for example, 1 week by yourself, and you don't know the language, you need to go do groceries. Uh, what was another thing that had happened? I had arrived 1 week earlier, uh, and basically didn't know how to take public transportation, having to go walk like 30 minutes, carrying bags full of equipment for like doing basic house chores. And I'm just thinking like, okay, people are, at a traffic light looking at this guy carrying all these bags all the way back to the dorm. It's quite hilarious.
Yeah.
And also without internet. I was without internet for five days.
Okay. But
So
why?
yeah. Huh?
Why?
So I talked with the lady from the dorm. I can't remember why, if it was something that I missed, but I think that there was some device that I needed to get from
Okay.
from the ladies that are in charge of collecting payments or managing the dorms. So that was very interesting. Thankfully, I had a book, but like you can see during this time, I, I don't want to make light of this depression or anything, but I did feel very low
Yeah.
for a while. Um, and one day when I was a bit howling in my bed, like being all like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be like this, and it ended up being like this. It's raining all the time. It's cloudy." I ended up saying to myself, like, "Okay, stop being a little wuss. Like, get up, check Google Maps." Because I knew that in Circle K, so it's one of these chains where you can get fill your tank with gas. That's where I had one of my first meals, typical Polish hot dog. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
I ended up going there first to get this Wi-Fi. So I get some coffee, got Wi-Fi, opened Google Maps, took screenshots, and I said, okay, like I'm gonna walk all the way to the city center of Warsaw. And this, mind you, it's I think, I don't know, 2.5 hours, 3 hours walking. And on my way, so I had the
Oh,
whole,
you did a lot of walking in Poland, yeah?
yes, yes.
Okay.
And I was everywhere that I went, I was trying to do something that my dad always said, taught me, which is whenever you're in somewhere new, like try getting points of reference. So as I was walking, I was looking at like what are the buildings that catch my attention to kind of get a reference point. I was writing down like the names on these. Do you say tablica? Like of
Yeah, the
the tablica?
signs, like,
Yeah, the
yeah,
signs. Um, and making a list of like some restaurants also along the way. Uh, and it was something that I ended up doing. Then coming back, which was another story. Um, I think it was one of the greatest decisions I made when I was in that period, because it gave me a lot. Like basically, I got so many different reference points that I I I felt okay like navigating the city alone. And if I didn't have internet, it was not like the end of the world. I would not
yeah,
feel anxious. So really important to do that when you get somewhere new. Also, I recommend everyone to do that.
yeah,
Reference
exactly,
points all the way.
exactly. No, life in Poland can be challenging even for the locals. So I think you did pretty well. I think you did pretty well. Yeah.
Uh,
And what about the language? When did you start learning it?
during this period of Erasmus.
Yeah, did you learn back then or
Yes, yes.
yeah,
So even before I came, so when I was doing this, at least minimal research on the culture side and the history, because I think it's always like a sign of respect, um, to know about the history, about where you're going to. So finding out that Poland was wiped off the map for 100 something years. How many? I can't
yeah, 123.
like just this deep rich story of perseverance and putting up with all these different invasions from uh, all sides. And so during that time I also learned at least basic words like cześć I dziękuję. This for me, at the basic, very important. I think proszę also. So for
Yeah,
me, this is very important. Like, thank you, please, and goodbye. And but apart from that, I did not do that much learning of the language. I'm busy socializing with all the different groups. um, there's this story that is also funny that pushed me to learn a new word. When I was in Biedronka, I was doing my groceries and I wanted to get past a very tight spot. There was an elderly lady standing there, and I ended up saying, "Excuse me," and I got a reaction from the lady, which is normal. I understand from her perspective. She kind of got startled, and I felt so guilty for startling this this elderly lady. Like, excuse me, and she like looking at me in a weird way, which is understandable. I think even in my country, you're not expecting someone to, especially if you're from an older generation that speaks totally
yeah,
different language than you. And then I was like, okay, like I need to really know how to say excuse me. And I went on Google Translator, put excuse me on the Google Translator, and out comes this word with a lot of P, S, Z, and I'm like pshash pshash pshasham psha. Okay, click on the lady that says the voice przepraszam, and then I'm trying to practice that 5 times over, and and it stayed in the vocabulary. So yeah. So at least to have this, to let people know when you go into a store, for example, that you know the basic at least. Uh, this I did, but not much beyond that.
so you spent like 6 months first, or
6 months, exactly. Yes. So
and
this
this was
was
when you, yeah,
no, this was before the infamous time of of COVID, of the pandemic. But so
before,
yes, just before. So
and during this period you fell in love, or
ah, yes.
yeah,
So
let's get to the point. Yeah.
yes. I understand. So basically, I ended up meeting my now fiance here. I think you can kind of say it's a very romantic story. We ended up actually meeting way before I ended up going out with her because I had planned to watch this movie Joker at the time it was coming out. I wanted to watch it, and I was like, okay, maybe some other people want to watch it. Made a group on Facebook. People came. One of the girls that was living in the dorm with us, she was French. She said, "Hey, can you please let my buddy from this Erasmus network come?" Buddy is basically someone from the country that you are going to that can kind of guide you and help you with uh, different things in the country, like can show you some good spots to go to, can help you with some documentation. And at the time, I was like, okay, like give me the Facebook and I'll add it. I was like, okay, this girl's very cute. I'll add it. We ended up going to watch the movie. I didn't think much of it until I came across her again on the party during New Year's Eve by happenstance. I walked into the room. She was there with her friends. I was going there with some friends of mine from Turkey, um, and I looked at her. She was gorgeous. You know, these beautiful kind of blue greenish eyes, blondish hair at the time, and yes, and I ended up, I was already like with on one beer in the system, so I was a bit, like, okay, not as shy as I usually am, and I started talking with her, and you know, by the end of the night, we were together, and we went officially for a proper date
Date, yeah,
the next day after New Year's Eve.
yeah.
And it's always very funny when I tell this story. I had this whole plan, like, oh, we're gonna go to a restaurant nearby the dorms, like has good food, it's good vibe, good ambience. Okay, I had planned all of this. I told her, oh, come here at this time, na. But me and my genius, I forgot that during this period of New Year's Eve, there's a period where things are closed. So I went there. I see that things are closed, and then she arrives, and I have to tell her like, look, it seems that it's closed. I did not know, so maybe let's just walk, make conversation, and we'll find something. And Jesus Christ, because during this time I was so nervous. Um, I was, I had to find somewhere where we could be, but as I from as far as I could tell, everything was closed. And me being the romantic that I am, I ended up deciding to go have coffee at the gas station. So in my mind, everything's already going like awful. Um, but thankfully, she saw that I was making an effort, and we had a really good conversation, and things got on pretty well from there. After we decided to stay in touch when I eventually left to Portugal. And it was hard because I was not expecting it. I was not expecting to grow attached to someone during that period. Uh, it was challenging the afterwards. Um,
And
so
when did you return to Poland?
so we did that. There was a whole story during in between because essentially I came back. I had to come back to Portugal, finish my bachelor's, and she the next semester, I believe, she was going to do her Erasmus in Slovenia.
Oh,
and we decided to keep in touch, because truly amazing girl. And I was way over my heels. So um, uh, during this period, we started getting messages that, oh, there's something going on in China, uh, that might be spreading off to other countries, yada yada yada. So
Wuhan.
Wuhan, exactly. Yeah. Something called COVID-19. And during this period, my university of Algarve, they implemented a period of like 1 week, because they were trying to figure out how they're like what was going on and how to organize things. And during this 1 week, again, my genius, I told uh, uh, my now fiance, like, hey, like I want to come and visit you. Mind you that this was a decision that I did not make like this. I was worried about it. What if I go and visit her during Erasmus and things don't work out, and I spent all this money going on a flight to, all this anxiety, all this kind of fear that comes from anxiety that comes from that fear of things not going well. But after having a talk with one of my friends, like I said, he told me, like, why not take it, like, then you know for sure. If you don't take it, you're going to regret it. But if you go, just don't go with any expectations that it will go this way or that way. Go with the idea that it's going to be an experience for you. So I went, like this, and I also was very excited to get to see her again. um, I arrived in Vienna, and I was supposed to take a Flixbus to Slovenia. And basically, I started seeing everyone in this international bus station going out, people closing monitors, and they were saying that they're canceling the Flix buses because they're closing the borders. Uh, so it was very interesting time. Called my parents. My dad just told me, "Hey, you have money on your card?" Yes, and I said yes, no problem. If any, I made a joke. If anything, I'll sleep under some bridge on the on the street. So yes.
Nice.
And meanwhile, when I was talking with my fiance, she managed to find some service on WhatsApp that allowed to cross the border while it wasn't on lockdown still, so everything was
Yeah,
legal.
of
Um,
course.
and it was a very shady service, because some van came to the airport at, it was, I think, around 10 at night, and it was picking up different people along the way. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, this is the time where my kidneys are going to be sold on black market. So, so, so yeah. Anyways, I ended up, everything went well. I arrived in Slovenia, and what was supposed to be a stay for around 1 week, because I just brought a bag with some boxers, some clothes.
Yeah.
I ended up staying for 3 months. uh, 3 months,
Okay.
three
So
months.
you also have your COVID stories.
Oh yeah. But especially during this period in Slovenia, I have another one.
COVID in Slovenia. This should be a title of one of my shorts.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely COVID in Slovenia. I have a very interesting story from that time also. If I can share it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so during this period, we kept hearing that, okay, they're not allowing people to leave the cities, yada yada yada. But uh, me and my girlfriend at the time, we could see that people were still like traveling with car. Not as much, but you can still go from one city to the other. And I decided to rent a car during this period. Um, when we arrived there, the lady asked if we were a bit crazy. I said no, like, we no one is coming, no one is renting the cars at this time. I just made sure that it was okay to do so, and off we went. And during this time, we were supposed to go to a place, I think Bled Lake, very beautiful uh, uh, mm,
Is it in the
view.
mountains?
Yes, around that area in near Slovenia. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous country. And so we're going. It's about 3 hour drive because the country is fairly small, which surprised me also. Amazing to drive and to do road trips. Perfect. And as we were going, we were reaching the destination, and I remember out of the corner of my eye, beforehand, mind you, okay, we make sure the Google Maps, everything's okay. Oh, yes, yes, perfect. Okay, let's go. Out of the corner of my eye, reaching our destination, I see a sign that I've never seen in my life, and it's a sign with blue, the stars around it, European Union sign, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. I didn't have enough time to kind of read it. My brain processed that it was different. I'm like, oh, it's in Slovenia. Maybe things are a bit different. And as I'm going a bit further, I see a sign saying Slovenia and this kind of going
Yeah,
into
and
Austria, and in front of me we pass an outpost with a police car, and at this time, like, what the hell, like, what the hell is going on? And a few kilometers away from me, it's the border where there are, I don't know if it was armored vehicles, but military vehicles. And I could see some pretty rough dudes, military dudes with armor. And in my head, I'm like, what in the hell am I getting myself into?
yeah,
So my heart starts racing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, turn back. Apparently, we're going to cross on the border crossing to Vienna. I believe it was to Vienna, yes. And it was big no. I came back and we had to stop near this police car, and I was pretty much crapping my pants. And of course, the lady is at the side, so you want to keep it cool and be like, she's also like a bit panicking, like, no, don't worry, like, don't worry, it's okay, like, we will deal with it, trying to be, uh, macho guy in the
yeah,
situation. And the policeman came over and asked us where we are coming from, where am I from, and I started blubbering about, oh, I'm from Portugal, and he's like, what? He in his mind, he's like thinking that I came with the car from Portugal,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
exactly.
so it's and Jesus, I never felt that emotion of kind of panic before, because I thought I was gonna get myself in trouble, in serious trouble. And he eventually, I think he saw that I had the lady on the side. We're not doing anything bad. He just let us go, and yeah, it's something that to this day with my fiance we have very fond memories of that. It was very
Yeah,
stressful, but we laugh so hard when we talk about that.
yeah. Now it sounds funny, but it wasn't back then,
Oh, no, 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 not at all,
right?
not at all, not at all. Yes,
Yeah.
so yeah.
So when did you move to Poland?
Hmm. So eventually, came back after all this period in Slovenia, came back to Portugal to finish my bachelor's. I made the decision to come to Poland to pursue my girlfriend, my girlfriend, and of course, I needed to find a way that it would also serve the purpose of me doing my master's. So I found a place, a university where they did a master's with specialization in strategic leadership, which was a topic that deeply interested me at the time, about leadership. And I ended up arriving in Poland, if I'm not mistaken, in 2021.
Okay.
2021. And yes, um, during this period when I arrived, I should have given myself more time to adjust in terms of going from having my all of my friends and family and this small city where I'm from to being in Poland studying and uh, you know again with snow and minus the negative temperatures
Yeah.
and all of this wonderful things that the country offers. Um, and and yeah, I ended up being able to take a part-time job in SMIC. So SMIC, for people that are listening, it's basically a chain of stores that sell toys, kids' clothes for kids and children. Um, and I was working in the warehouse. So uh, I was doing
And
part-time
did
work.
and did you learn any Polish back then?
Uh, Apart from some few curse words that I would hear every now and then in the in the magazine,
This, yeah, this free lessons.
free lessons. Zabava. So this is toy. Yes.
Yeah.
Dzieci, kids, uh, and oh, koszula. Yes, because I was also I was organizing basically items in the warehouse, and so waking up at around I think 5 something, going and starting on the shift at 7, leaving around midday or something like this. Can't remember exactly. And when I had classes, then I would go straight to the classes, and when not, I would go straight home. So it was a challenging period because I really believe that whenever people, I don't know how other people are going through this, but if you're changing your environment in such a radical way, I believe that you should give yourself a bit some time to not only be a bit with yourself, but to just uh, realize that you are not adjust. Like now you understand that the normal group of friends that you have, that you can just give a call or you can walk to their house because everything is so close by and far where I'm come from. Yes, um, to a bit adjust to that, and I think I didn't allow myself to really adjust during this period. Uh, so yeah.
And what are the biggest differences between Poland and Portugal? Besides the weather and you know.
So this I'm gonna say the one that I think I heard a lot of people complaining when I was going on Erasmus. Also, I noticed it, but special when I arrived here to stay for my masters. Um, like I'm used to coming from Portugal, where you go into a store, everyone greets you with a smile. People are, happy and jolly for most of the time. And here in Poland, things are different. Yes, you're walking on the street. People have, let's say, a more blank expression. um, if when you go to a store, mm, you are not greeted with that smile. Yes. Uh, so in the beginning, I had a tendency of like, okay, like people are pretty cold. People are very cold, so I don't feel this warmth. I miss it so much of having people be nicer. Um, but so this was one of these things. Although the more time you spend in Poland, the more time you realize that that actually is an admirable thing, something that I came to admire about Polish people. But we can get into that in a bit. Uh, so the other thing was food. So me coming from Portugal, food is pretty big topic. But I it was not as big of a, I don't want to say barrier, but something that bothered me that much because I grown accustomed to Polish food fairly quickly. I was lucky enough that my mother-in-law, she also cooked for me, so I got to try really amazing Polish food. Gołąbki, yes. So not just the
Yeah.
basic like kind of pierogi, which are good, but this gołąbki, kotlet mielone, kotlet schabowy, yes. Uh, what else? Mm,
Did you start smiling less?
oh yeah. So my demeanor changed, because before I used to be very I don't want to say nice, but in my interactions I'll be laughing more. I'd be more from the beginning with this good disposition. I don't even want to call it disposition, but yes. So I started smiling less. Yes, I started to be like, okay, no, I need to be more serious. Yes, I can't be all
Yeah,
the time, because imagine I was going to restaurants with my girlfriend, and I was like, we would get like a good service, and I would want to, oh, excuse me, what is your name, to the waiter. So I would ask them, and my girlfriend, she told me like, Miguel, like I understand, like it comes from a good place, but I people are a bit taken back because that is not a usual behavior. They are not used to people being that. It's not me trying to be nice. I think it's just out of respect and wanting to be appreciative. Yes. Um, Also of this customer service, because we have different standards for customer service. I guess. Going to some store, and some person, instead of a smile, is greeting you with a more serious face. So this this also makes you eventually start to shift. Um, so yeah, this had repercussions uh, in my behavior. So I started smiling less and be less mm, like I don't want to say nice, but smiley in this beginning. Yes. So when I'm
yeah,
greeting
yeah.
someone, so to be a bit more serious, a bit more composed, I would say, a bit more neutral. I think that's the word, neutral. Not
Neutral,
being
yeah.
nice, but neutral, because that's why I
Yeah,
feel that Polish people are. It's like neutral, and once we have like, and once the people have enough interactions with you, or they're just depending on personality, because also we don't, not to generalize, yes, then they might, you say do widzenia, miłego dnia, have a good day, and they're like, oh, you too, and then you get a little smile, or they see that you are trying to order something in Polish, and they give you a smile also. That's when you start to notice like this hospitality.
yes.
So it doesn't come from I would say even like trying to be like a smile just to give a smile, and this eventually made me appreciate that even more. So Polish people will not give you a smile just because. No, like they will be neutral, they'll be chill, and yes, if they feel like it, and if the conversation is good, if the interaction is good, then yes. And I respect that, and I eventually took that into myself. So not to give a smile to just about anyone, just be neutral, be respectful, be nice, and and that's how I incorporated that into my my personality, let's say. So
Okay. Um, did you make any mistakes when you started learning Polish?
mm, many. So um
I mean, the way you approached, the learning and things you
oh,
did.
at the beginning, because of this, because I hadn't taken time to adjust, let's say, and I was trying to do too many things at the same time, and I did not create a plan. I did not create a plan for my learning in regards to Polish. So of course, as in the beginning, no matter how good you might be with languages, at retaining information, if you don't have a plan, if you don't practice at least every day a little bit, or if you're not in contact with some form of the language, be that audio, reading something and actually trying to pay attention to it, or going on Google Translator and just put some phrases to know how to say it in Polish, it's very hard, because eventually Polish will start to stack up. It's not a simple language, so uh, the basics from the beginning, you might get away with it. But once you start talking about these different cases, and if especially if you don't have like if you do not have a strategy to go about it, if you do not have a structure, or you are not even thinking about it on a regular basis, it is very easy for you to feel like you are in the sea, and this wave that is Polish keeps pulling you further into deeper waters, and you find it harder and harder to come up to the surface, and to retain anything, and to get value from the lessons that you're having, for example. So me, in my case, I was having 2 lessons a week, and I was not even repeating what I was doing in the first lesson that often. So came second lesson, new things, new vocabulary, new words, new grammar, and it snowballs pretty quickly. It doesn't seem like it, but it can get to that point.
So what would be your advice to people who
Mm.
think of starting learning or have already started?
So,
Like for beginners, let's say.
mhm. So for beginners, I think definitely one of the most important things is to retain words. Um, for me, I hate grammar, so I think most people also find it a bit nightmarish, and it can be very discouraging if you feel like you're not catching it. So what gives me a lot of let's say a feeling of competence, of confidence also, is me looking up some word or learning a new one or two, three words, and then trying to uh, uh, repeat them. And eventually, when you start hearing conversations in Polish, you can, oh my God, okay, I just heard this person say the word that I was studying, and I know what this. I can't understand anything else about the conversation, but I picked up this one word.
Yes.
So it's definitely try to learn words in the beginning, different words, do repetitions, maybe even if you don't get comfortable not understanding what people are talking about. And that's okay, that's perfectly fine. Listening a podcast in Polish, if you manage to get to the point where you already recognize a word when people are speaking in a conversational tone, and then next week you can identify 2 3 words, and you're like, oh Jesus, this is working. Oh my God, I might not understand anything about the conversation, but maybe I can now understand the topic of the conversation. So this is what happened eventually with me,
Yeah.
and so this is my advice. Yeah, stick
Nice.
to the words, the grammar can come afterwards. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about politics, and it seems like we are in a very strange phase of our civilization right now.
That's a very polite way to say
Yeah,
it.
yeah, true.
Yes.
And let's imagine it's 2030 right now, and we have this conversation. We have this conversation about what happened in the last 5 years. So what happened between 2025 and 2030,
Mhm.
and what happened between 2025 and 2030?
Okay, so big disclosure. I'm I'm not qualified to to give opinions on politics or geopolitics, but uh,
What you wish, okay, what you wish.
what I wish would
Yeah,
happen in between those 5 years.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You would probably, get married. So
yes, yes.
yeah,
So
so
I
this
have
is a good
I have
this is a good thing.
I have plans for these 5 years, but when it comes to politics, I hope that we do get some strong leadership in Europe. It seems to me, and this again, I can't stress this enough. I don't accompany it as often as maybe I should. But from my understanding of what has transpired so far and what can transpire in the future, especially even listening to a podcast that you recommended me, this strategy in the future, shout out. Uh, um, uh, it seems to me that Europe got complacent when it comes to their defense and their defense capabilities. And what's happening right now with Ukraine, again, I'm not an expert, but if you go back in history and you see what happened to Poland, it seems like smack dab what's happening to Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine gave up their nuclear capabilities in exchange for protection.
Yeah.
And now we see, very unfortunately, the cost that that is having. Yes, I hope that in these 5 years we get some actionable plans for our defense, for the main topics that are affecting Europe right now. I mean, in my perspective, it seems to me that is the threat of Russia, threat of war, uh, and not to mention housing crisis. Also, that's affecting people my age and preventing people to even start families or wanting to start families. Um, and to get long-term strategy, not and short-term. Yes, so to be strategic, yes, in the long term, but also be able to capitalize on some short-term gains, meaning that, for example, uh, not to be dependent solely on US for protection,
Yeah.
to and to get people that in power that have, I don't want to say like a heavy fist, but that you can look up to. Yes, that you can, in this time of crisis, in this time of what might seem like turmoil. Yes, uh, that you can have someone in power, someone in leadership that can look and, okay, at least this person makes me feel like we are going somewhere, or we are working towards something, not just being passive about everything that is happening and singing kumbaya, as one of our neighbors, gets invaded. So yeah.
So, from what I understood, in 2030, you see strong Europe, independent Europe. The war in Ukraine is over. It's something from the past.
To be honest with you, that no, that what I was saying was what I hope. What I see happening is,
Yeah.
to be honest, if you allow a bully to bully without consequences, guess what they're
Yeah, it's
gonna
like at
do?
school. It's
Guess
like
what
at
they're gonna
school.
do?
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing! It's they even get they even get their some benefits from it. Yes, so they're gonna continue to bully. So in this regard, I think I hope to God that not, but I think that a war might be in next 5 to 10 years if something is not done proactively to put in place like deterrence, let's
Yeah.
say, because everything is good, everything is amazing. People can pretend that oh, we'll do a peace pact, but again, in 2014, no one was thinking that Russia was gonna do what it did to Ukraine, and certainly when I was in my vacation in Zakopane in the mountains, and when was it, the invasion, the day of the invasion? Uh,
24th of February.
exactly. No one was expecting it. I mean, so we definitely don't want to have that feeling again. That feeling of what what world did I just wake up to? So
Do you remember this day? You were in Zakopane, right?
Yeah, I remember. I remember because the first I was on Instagram, and a news site that I follow was putting out some videos, and it was a video of including a jet firing some missiles onto a civilian building, and I thought like, no way, this can't be Ukraine. What, Russia? Huh? Uh, didn't make any sense. Then you start seeing more and more videos, helicopters going over the border, uh, tanks shooting at civilian cars, all these awful things, and it was shocking. It was shocking because never in my life I thought, okay, it's our neighbors, it's right over here.
Yeah.
So yeah. And already at that time I was thinking, okay, what the implications does this have for the future, for the next 5 years? Yes. So
Yeah, yeah. Now, a question about AI. Do you use AI at work?
uh, at work, mm, no, rarely. But the uh, the company that I'm working for has tools that use AI, mostly for normal search queries, so or usual search queries, and it is helpful. And me in my day-to-day basis, not as often, but if I want to get some information quickly, um, or I can turn to it. I turned to it during my masters, not to write my thesis, obviously, because that doesn't work. But I was using it to narrow, for example, my searches uh, of sources. So uh, instead of feeling lost, like, okay, just to give me sort of a direction, these are the main sources, the main authors in this field, and then I could, okay, I have a direction, and from there I can read these authors and go from there. So
Okay. Let's speculate a little bit again about AI this time.
okay, yes.
Again, 2030. I just like the number for some reason.
Yes.
So, do you think between now and 2030, there might be some AI which can replace, like, say, people like you at your job or people like me at my job as a teacher? And how
Mm.
likely do you think this is?
I'm gonna go for the safe answer, and I think 50%, because AI is great for automating things, but especially in your uh, job, teaching people. Uh, I mean, you can have how many apps you want to learn a language. There's people like, for example, like me, that it's difficult to be consistent. And when you have someone else on the other side to talk to have a relationship with, a connection with, uh, to laugh, to joke, to riff, uh, that is a different thing that I think AI will not be able to produce. In my job, I believe it would be easy for it to replace, but again, uh, there's what we would call like fires at work that actually need some proactive problem solving, that I think cannot be done with through code. Not to mention that the the longer that I am in the work that I'm doing, the more I notice that there are very simple problems or pieces of information that you can obtain by calling someone, and
Yeah.
and by building relationships. Like, I have a very hard, uh, concise view that life is about relationships with people. Now, I'm not going to be here the grandpa saying that, okay, AI doesn't matter, not going to do anything. I'm sure it's very helpful. It can automate a lot of processes, can automate different actions, yes, but I don't think it can replace what you get from a human relationship with someone, and the trust that comes with that also. So
Yeah.
yeah, because it's different. Let's say a student logging into to Duolingo or, or something like this, yes, and having someone that can fine tune in real time. AI could do that, yes, but someone that can listen to you, someone that can hear, okay, what's your sense of humor, respond accordingly, and you can create this verbal connection other than you know that's I think there's something very like human that AI can't replace. That's the thing.
Okay. And my last question: do you miss Portugal? Do you miss, the sun, the ocean, and
Every day, every
every
day.
day? Yeah.
I miss this smell. So when there's a low tide, you get this breeze in the air. Sometimes this salty ocean water. I miss going for surfing every now and then, although I quite suck at it. Uh, I miss the certainty of knowing that there's gonna be sun for the whole week. Another thing for people that are not in Poland, one of the things I quickly noticed is how unpredictable the Polish weather is. It's quite amazing, and so yeah, I do miss it um, fondly. So, but anyone that's listening to this, please, you can visit Portugal, visit Algarve, Faro, uh, go for the good food, good people, and I highly recommend it. Poland as
Nice.
well, but I need to defend my 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 country here a little bit.
Yes, of course, of course. Okay, Miguel, thank you. Thank you very much. It was very, very good to talk to you, and see you in the next one.
Thank you, Janusz. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and I hope anything that I said can be useful for the people listening, and that people find it entertaining. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You said many things that can help the beginners,
Yes.
because people, I've realized people really need to hear certain things from the students, not from the teacher. It has much
It
better,
different impact because
yeah,
it's you I think you can get so used as a student to hearing that